Hey, you! Ronald! I've just got one thing to say to you. You're fired.
Huh? What's happening? Oh, good morning, Mr. Potter, sir. What's with this all of a sudden? I don't understand what's going on, sir.
There was a huge mistake done in the Woods Company project, and it's your fault. I've already checked this out with the department manager, Mr. Gray, and something needs to be done about it. I'm taking care of the matter, as you're the one who's responsible for this mess. From today, you're not to come into the office. You've been officially fired.
Why are you firing me for? What did I do? Okay, but even though you've said that a couple of times already, I don't quite understand why this is happening. Can I explain what happened so that I can understand your decision as to why you're doing this?
I don't want to hear any of your excuses, Ronald. I'll send all the stuff that you've left on your desk later in the day. There's no need for you to pick it up. You're not to come here again.
Please don't do anything to the personal belongings on my desk. Not until I know what's going on.
Oh, so you want to play hardball, huh? You know I can play that game too. Let's just throw all your things into the garbage, shall we? Don't even think about coming by this office ever again. You've been forbidden to enter the building. Nobody wants to see your face around here again.
But sir, I don't understand why this decision has been made. But fine, I won't step a foot in the office again. I'll do as you say, sir. Hey, Melissa, look, something bad has happened and I really need to talk to you about it. Have you got some time right now to talk? I could really use your advice right now.
Ronald, are you okay? What's going on? Did something happen?
Yeah, it's not good. I've got no idea what I did. I just got a message from Mr. Potter. It was during the day and I was minding my own business, and then this. He told me that the company just suddenly decided to fire me, so he told me he was dealing with my firing.
Excuse me? What the heck? Are you saying you just got fired? Why are you even being fired in the first place? Like why now? At this time of day?
Well, if I say it how it exactly happened, it went like this. I got a message from Mr. Potter, my manager. He said that there was a mistake in the Woods Company project. He then said that he had just checked it over with Mr. Gray and that it fell on my shoulders, and that it was all my fault and that I'm not to come back to the office. That's the conversation I had with Mr. Potter. I have absolutely no idea what's going on.
Okay now, just hang on a second. But isn't Mr. Gray the one who makes all these decisions, not Mr. Potter? I don't understand why Mr. Gray isn't the one talking to you about what happened.
I'm curious about that too. That's why I wanted to message you about it to see what you thought. Unless if he wanted Mr. Potter to deal with this situation, it really should be Mr. Gray who reported to me about it, not a person below him. I don't get it. I guess he's your father and all, so I thought he would deal with it.
I have no idea, Ronald. No matter what way you think about it, he can't just possibly fire you without probable cause. Or at least explain himself.
I was actually planning to call Mr. Gray to talk about it to him directly. But he seemed to have turned off his phone, so the call isn't going through.
Apparently, last night he slept a lot for the first time in a long time because he said he'd turn off his phone. Well, surely he's awake right now, but I wonder if his phone is still turned off and he's forgotten to turn it back on.
Oh, is that what you think has happened? You might be onto something there.
Yeah, just hang on a minute there, Ronald. I'll listen to what he has to say on the matter. Just give me a few minutes and I'll come back.
I'm sorry about all of this, Melissa, but thank you for your help so far. I really appreciate it.
Hey, Ronald, I am sorry to have kept you waiting. I hope I wasn't away for long.
You're fine. It's only been about 10 minutes. So were you able to get anything out of him? What happened?
So, he told me that he has no recollection of any interaction with Mr. Potter regarding the Woods Company project. He said that he wouldn't let anyone do something like that while he's in his current position. It's something he wouldn't do in the first place. He would have come to you if there were any issues.
Is that right? That makes sense. I just don't understand what Mr. Potter's doing by messaging me that I'm fired.
Yeah, so that's what my father has to say about that. He seems very confused by the situation as well. Ronald, are you able to come by the house right now?
Right now? What for? What else have I done wrong?
Nothing, but I think maybe it's to discuss what's going on with Mr. Potter. I don't think it's something my father wants to talk about over a message. He said that if we could, we should discuss things face to face and talk over dinner. Also, he said the president of the company will be attending as well.
I'm sorry, what? Even the president of the company? This has got to be something really bad, right? If he's gotten involved. But would it be okay for my sudden interruption, though? I don't want to disturb if they're discussing important work-related matters.
Don't worry about that. But if you're worried about the food situation, it's okay, as I was originally planning on having food delivered today. So feel free to come over if you'd like. I'll see you later, okay? But it sounds like my father wants to eat and have a drink with his future son, Ronald. So you can chill and talk to my father. I'm sure he'll listen to you.
Oh, really? I can't actually believe that. But yes, I'll see you in a bit for dinner. It'll be nice to have a drink with your father. If that's what you want me to do, I'll come over and bother your family.
Of course. We want you to be here. Take care getting over here. I'll see you soon.
Hey, Ronald, I need your attention right now. Where are tomorrow's meeting materials that were supposed to be on your desk? I swear they were put down here. Without the materials, the meeting can't go ahead. This is urgent. Hurry up and tell me where they are. Just because you don't work here anymore doesn't mean you can just ignore my messages.
Hey, Melissa. I wanted to thank you so much for your advice and support yesterday. I really appreciate it. I'm really glad I was able to talk to your father and the president of the company.
No, thank you for coming over and talking with him. They very much enjoyed your company.
Even so, thank you for inviting me. I never expected something like this to happen behind all the office crap that goes on.
Right, yeah. I'm quite surprised by how they interact as well. It's much more chill than an office building.
Yeah, they're very concerned about the situation, though. If that's the case, I'll wait and see about what Mr. Potter does. I'll try not to react to anything he's doing until the situation changes. For the meantime, none of it matters to me right now.
Exactly! That's a good way to put it. You don't need to worry about what Mr. Potter does until the situation unfolds.
Yeah, I know it's a little early, but I'm going to take a shower and go to bed. This whole thing has been quite exhausting. Tell your father I said hello, and thank you for talking things out with me the other night.
Fair enough. I would too in your situation. Of course I'll tell him you said that. Good night. I hope you have a good night's sleep.
Thank you, Melissa. Sweet dreams to you.
Okay. Ronald, I'm sick of not getting a reply out of you. The materials that I asked for yesterday weren't completed. Now I've got to go to the Woods Company and tell them how sorry we are that everything has fallen behind. It's all your fault, Ronald. What are you thinking messing around like this? Ronald, answer me, man. What does it mean that you've been absent without as much as a peep out of you since yesterday, huh? You're gonna be in some deep trouble if you're not careful.
Day 3.
Ronald, this is the third time I'm contacting you and you've not answered me. Aren't you coming in today? You can't just be absent without letting anyone know about it, right? That's what I'm gonna ask. The proposal I told you to make for Jones Company. What's going on with that? I can't get into your work laptop because I haven't got a clue what the password is. So what is it? Seriously, man. What are you planning on doing about all of this?
Hey, Ronald. How have you been since all the crap went down about your work? Have there been any more developments on that? Has Mr. Potter gotten back to you with anything? What has he been saying?
Hi. Oh, yes, he's been saying quite a bit. He's been sending so many messages every day over the past few days. And that same person just turned around and said that I'm absent without getting permission. I don't understand. He's the one that said I'm fired the other day.
Come to think of it, he said Mr. Potter sent a message saying that to you the other day. I might as well tell you. Mr. Potter has a really bad drinking habit.
Huh? What are you talking about? Are you saying he's an alcoholic?
Well, you know how if you drink too much alcohol, your memory starts to get worse over time, right?
Yes, I guess I've been told that before. A colleague who's accompanied me on a night out once said something like that can happen. It was a Saturday that I received his message about getting fired, so I thought he might have been working on his day off or something. He got all worked up about the Woods Company project I was working on and how I made some sort of mistake. Then he told me I was fired. But he must have still been drunk, and now he can't remember that he actually said that and thinks I'm not showing up for work. Oh my god, it's all falling into place now.
Yeah, my father has had it with Mr. Potter and that he can't handle his nonsense.
I guess if I were to look back through my message history, I can see when he was drunk or not. Maybe it's just something I didn't notice?
I suppose so. Even though he's in the same generation as my father, he still remains only a manager. You'd think he'd be in a higher job position by now.
Really? I suppose his drinking problem's holding him back and creating so many problems.
Ronald, this is getting beyond a joke. Reply to your messages, man. What's the password for your work laptop? The department manager just asked me for the progress on another company's proposal. And it's stuck on your laptop. Hurry up and tell me the password. This is urgent. I'm sick of you no replying. Get to work on time and get on with the project. Stop being so irresponsible. Hey, you! Ronald! Stop ignoring your supervisor. There's another company that's needing their proposal looked over. What the heck do you think you're doing by not replying and not showing up to work? You're going to regret ignoring me. All the companies that work for us instructed you to do everything for them. Even though I'm the one who submitted it under my name instead of yours, this is going to go very bad if things continue like this. Ronald, answer me! What's wrong with you, boy? Hey, Ronald, for goodness sake, I'm here to tell you that the General Affairs Department are going to take away your work laptop tomorrow. All the documents I had to do for all these companies are also on your laptop. This is ridiculous. It's like talking to a wall. Oh yes, isn't there also data on there that deals with the internal stuff at work? If I don't do something about it, it's going to be all my fault, even though it's all your work I'm trying to get. Hurry up and tell me the password. I'm begging you to tell me. Ronald, you've not replied to a single message for a whole week. Cut the crap and reply to me right now. I'm not going to stop sending you messages until you've replied to me. My performance rating will go down if you don't show up to work. I'll come over to your house and drag you here if I must do that so I don't lose my job.
Good morning, Mr. Potter. It's quite early to be messaging me now, isn't it?
Excuse me? What do you mean by that? It's a normal time for people to be awake. You're finally replying to me now, huh? What took you so long? Don't you realize how many days you've missed? Why aren't you showing up? You're making me so furious to the point that I'm gonna pop so many blood vessels. And our department manager as well.
Even so, all the companies you were mentioning, when you think about it, you were forcing me to do a lot of the work, weren't you?
What the heck are you talking about, boy? It's normal for the boss to assign the work to his workers, isn't it? That's how it works here. You weren't absent from work without anybody's permission, and you were slacking off. I was the one that had to finish the work for you, so I sent the proposals to the companies that were requesting them. You need to get to work right now. If you get to work in the next 30 minutes, then I won't fire you and I'll forgive you for not showing up. That's what Mr. Gray has been saying to me as well.
Oh, is that so, Mr. Potter? Don't you remember saying to me that I'm fired and that I don't need to come into the office anymore?
I never said that to you. Why would I say that to you? What are you talking about, man?
Maybe it's because you were so drunk at the time you were messaging that to me and you were just saying what your heart desired?
I haven't got a clue what you're on about. I don't remember that at all. What are you saying?
Well, it's too late to take it all back now. I would go back and check your chat history if I were you. That might jog your memory. Actually, you might want to go back even before that conversation was had. You do realize that Mr. Gray and I quit our jobs on the same day over 10 days ago, right?
Huh? What's that supposed to mean? You both quit your jobs? And you didn't say anything to me about it? Not just who you quit, but Mr. Gray as well? No way! That can't be true!
The general manager decided to start his own business, and he wanted us to join him in starting a new company. So we ended up quitting our jobs together. I assume you didn't notice that happening?
I thought he was just going on a business trip and then he'd be back soon to do his duties.
There was an announcement almost a month ago through the internal chats and through the department's morning meeting. After talking it through with Mr. Gray, he gave all my portfolios that I had for all the other companies we worked for to another colleague. Honestly, it would be an unreasonable thing to say to someone to get back to work now when I chose to quit my job now. Wouldn't it, Mr. Potter? I wouldn't have been so bothered about it if I hadn't quit my job, but I have, and now I'm an outsider discussing confidential information with an ex-coworker of mine. That's not the best look, Mr. Potter.
But it's only because you never replied to me and it took you so long to do so. Why?
Yes, it did. I thought that you would notice eventually what's going on, but another employee had to make it more obvious to you. I couldn't bear to be so persistent, so I sent a reply like this to get back at you for the way you've been treating me.
This can't be happening right now. Are you serious? Okay. You need to tell me who each case was assigned to right now. I'm supposed to be the creator, so I'd be in big trouble if someone submitted documents without my permission or not checking them with me first.
Huh? I haven't got a clue what you're talking about, Mr. Potter. What do you mean? Isn't it no longer necessary for you to be the creator of those documents, Mr. Potter?
Huh? What do you mean by that? Why not? I don't get it. What's going on here?
Didn't anyone tell you that the company is filing for bankruptcy?
Are you kidding me? Bankruptcy? Is this a joke?
It's no joke, sir. I received a message from a former colleague saying that they had talked about it in this morning's meeting. I never thought something like this would happen to the company, so I thought the best idea was to quit before things got worse. I suppose you haven't got to work yet, so you don't know the details?
I'm on my way to work right now.
Oh, is that so? Well, I guess you didn't get over your habit of being late to work then?
Now, just rewind back a little bit. I don't get why the company's filing for bankruptcy. Does that mean that I'm unemployed from today onwards until I get another job?
Well, I guess so. If you're fine with that, I guess you've got no choice but to be employed now.
But what am I supposed to do now? I've been at this company for so long already. This has got to be the worst thing to happen to me. How am I supposed to get a job after all this happening?
I don't know. You've got to figure it out. I'm going to leave you to it. Please excuse me. After this, Mr. Potter apparently went home instead of going to work. Of course, it seems that an explanation of what happened was given in some form at a later date. There was talking about arranging a new job. Mr. Potter was so drunk that he didn't listen to everything. By the way, he's single, in his 50s, his parents have passed away, he has no siblings or family, so unfortunately not a lot going for him. He started drinking alcohol all day long thinking about what he should do with his life. One day, he was rushed to the hospital due to acute alcohol poisoning. But there was no one to take care of him, feed him, shelter him, so he didn't recover very well. The other day, he was released from the hospital and into a specialized facility. I do feel quite sorry for the guy, but I just wish he would have nothing to do with me ever again.
Hello, Caroline. Are you there? Please reply if you're reading this. I wanted to ask you something. You married my son 2 years ago and came to live with us, but you're still working. Why is that? When are you going to quit that silly job of yours? You're going to be 30 in a few months, you know, right? You also know that my husband runs a company and someone has to take over that company after your husband. I suggest you start getting busy bringing a new member to this family. A male heir who will take over the company one day. Have you even put any thought into having a child? Besides, I sure would like to see a grandson soon. Good morning, Mother. I think I mentioned this numerous times, but the person that will take over as the president of your husband's company will be determined on merit. That's how your husband wants it. He's not going to have a family member just take over because this person is a relative. Well, that's all very virtuous and all, but that's not the real world, Caroline. In reality, my husband's company has been run by 3 generations of this family. It's been handed down from father to son for generations, and our company has profited because of it. Merit alone will not suffice. There is a little thing called tradition, which you seem to be lacking, Caroline. It has already been decided that your husband James will eventually take over as the next company president, and after him his son, my grandson. Yes, well, tradition is all very good and all, but times have changed, Mother. I'm not saying it's wrong. If the person taking over is competent, whether that be James or someone else, I'm all for it. Will you stop contradicting me? You always find a way to refute everything I say. My husband has informed me that you are a very competent and reliable employee, but your competence and this issue are completely different. You are in no position to determine company policy. You're just another employee. I suggest you keep your nose out of it. I think that applies to you more than it does to me, don't you think? Pardon me? The person that will be promoted to that position concerns all the employees, and that person's decisions affect us all. You've never in your life worked at your husband's company. It seems obvious that it's you that has no right to decide who becomes the next company president or any other position. How dare you? How could you say that? I'm this company president's wife, for God's sakes. I certainly do have the right. Yes, I'm quite aware of that, but that makes no difference whatsoever. Makes no difference? Have you lost your mind, Caroline? I'm in possession of all my faculties, thank you. Do you really think that just because you are the president's wife that you can make such an important decision? Well, I have the right to. Just doesn't seem logical to me is all. This is getting nowhere. All you have to do is just stop complaining and work on giving us a grandson so that someday he will be able to take over this company and continue this long-established custom. If you have time to spurt such nonsense, I suggest you use your time more wisely by having a child. Right now, I'm giving my work priority above all, and I've talked long and hard about this with Jim. Pardon me? I know you complain to Jim about this matter all the time, and he gets irritated because you're so bullheaded about it. But could you not take that frustration out on me? I have other things to worry about. Jim said that? I wasn't trying to be difficult or anything. Just so you know, Mother, Jim is sitting right next to me and seeing this entire conversation. What? Are you serious? Why didn't you say so before? You better be ready for a line text from him later on, and it won't be a very pleasant one, I can tell you that. You tricked me into this, didn't you? You had him sit down and witness this conversation. How could you? Even if I denied such an absurd allegation, you wouldn't believe me, so what can I say? This is getting really exasperating, Mother. I really have to go. Goodbye. Caroline, are you seeing this? Answer me! I want you to come home right away and do a little cleaning. The place is a total mess. You married into this family and you live in this house. You have an obligation to do some of the chores. Sorry, Mother, I'm still at work and I have to do some overtime tonight. Got a project to finish up. Sorry. Are you serious? My husband left his position as president to become the chairman. There is not much time left for you to get to work conceiving a child. And why are you still working? There's no need. I want you to resign and stay home and fulfill your role as a wife. Excuse me? You want me to be an obedient little housewife? Is that it? Are you all right, Mother? You know I'm not the type. Like I said, I give my work priority above all. Are you still going on about that? Anyways, Jim did the cleaning as soon as he got home earlier. He just sent me a line saying that he finished. Wait, You're having James clean the house? Don't tell me he's also cooking. Yes, sometimes, anyways. We're not even living together anymore. How could you even know the place is a mess? We both share household chores. When he's busy, I do the cleaning and cooking. That's what we agreed on. I don't need you telling us what to do. Don't tell me you want me to come to your house and clean too. Is that what you're getting at? Is that what a housewife has to do? This sounds like your typical mother-in-law pestering her son's wife kind of scenario, like in some daytime soap opera. We didn't opt to live near you guys just so you would pester us day and night. How could you say that? It's a mother's duty to look after her son and, in extension, his wife. To pass the experiences of being the wife of a company president. I'm sorry, Mother, but before you start with all the same old hot air again, I received permission from Jim to respond however I saw fit. Just so you're aware. Jim gave you permission? And what's this about hot air? Also, I'm going to be pretty busy with this current project, so if you send me any messages that sound like the same old spiel, well, I'm simply not going to respond. Wait, what? So you're just going to ignore me, is that it? Yes, I already got Jim's permission to do it. Jim would never allow such a thing. I better have a talk with him about this nonsense. I really can't have you interfering with my work. We're in a crucial phase now, so I would appreciate your cooperation, Mother. You really know how to anger someone, Caroline. Yeah, well, whatever. How could you just ignore your mother-in-law, for Christ's sake? Always giving your work priority and shunning your responsibilities at home. What kind of a wife are you, anyway? I will make you listen and obey me. Mark my words, Caroline. You'll regret talking to me that way. Mother, have you gone totally nuts? Why did you go into our house without permission? And why did you change the locks? How do you expect us to get in? Are you trying to lock us out of our own home? Do you realize what you're doing, Mother? And besides, where the hell did you get a spare key? I never gave you one, and neither did Jim. I simply took my son's key and had a spare made down at the mall. Hold on a second, Mother. You had a spare made without us knowing? Yes, when he visited us last month, I saw his key case on the kitchen table. And when Jim and my husband were watching that football game, I drove down to the mall and had a spare made. He never knew it was missing. You just went and made a spare key to our house? For what, may I ask? Yes, that's because you two would never give me one. Jim promised he would when you first moved in. If I don't have a spare, how am I supposed to go over there and check the place and see that you're doing your duty properly? Mother, do I really have to explain? Stop right there, Caroline. If you want to enter this house again, I suggest you admit that you were wrong and obey my every demand. I want you to pledge that you will never disobey me, the mother of your husband, the current company chairman. And you mustn't forget that I'm the current president's mother. I want your solemn oath that you will never ever again defy or refuse to obey your mother-in-law. I want your word or you're not entering this house. Wait a second. Did you just say the current president's mother? I'm not sure I understand you. That's right. Why is it so surprising? Just leave company matters to the current president. That would be my son and focus on conceiving a child. You're the president's wife. There's no reason for you to work. Do as I say, Caroline, or there will be consequences. If you're so dedicated to your job, well, you can continue, but that means you'll have to divorce my son. And that's final. Oh, okay. So that's what you want me to do, huh? You want me to just resign from this company? Am I understanding you correctly, Mother? That's exactly what I'm trying to tell you. Have you finally gotten that through your little head? There are plenty of other employees that can take your place. That's what a company is for. You work, and when your time comes, you retire to raise a family. It's the normal course of things. Simply just resign and focus on bringing us a grandson. That's your role. It's about time you learned that, Caroline. Oh, okay, Mother. That means we'll just have to see the demise of this company, I suppose. You're joking, right? The company won't go under just because one of its employees resigns. You hold yourself in too much regard, my dear. Mother, you never fail to astound me. I really thought you had the company's survival in mind and that you were serious in your concern regarding who would take over as president, but then you tell me that I have to resign, and not for the good of the company, but to have a baby. What are you trying to say, Caroline? My concern for the company and the family are clear-cut and logical. There is nothing irrational or unjustifiable about what I'm saying. Oh, but it is completely irrational in my opinion. Okay, so if you think what I'm saying is so irrational, then explain that to me. Which part of it is it that you find so unreasonable? Like I said, you attach too much importance to yourself. It embarrasses me whenever you applaud yourself, extolling the virtues of your own work all the time. I mean, how arrogant do you have to be to say the company will go bankrupt if you quit? My God, the audacity! Mother, I hate to tell you this, but I'm the new president of the company. Say again? What did you just say? I said, I'm the new president of the company. I recently took over. I'm surprised you didn't know. Stop joking around, Caroline. I'm serious. This is no laughing matter. This concerns the future of our family. The next president has already been determined, ever since he was born, as a matter of fact. How could he give that position to you, please? Then why don't you ask your husband or contact Jim right now and ask him? They will both tell you the same thing. Or you could even call the office and every employee there will tell you the same thing. This is some kind of prank, right? And what about James? What's James going to do? If he's not president, is he just a regular employee? That can't be. Jim's set to resign by the end of next month. Again, I'm surprised you didn't know. Resign? You're saying he's going to quit the company? Yes, he says he has other objectives, so for now he'll work freelance and see how things go. Freelance? Meaning he's not even going to be employed by a company? Yes, for a while, I guess, after which he says he will eventually start his own company. Start his own company? But why can't he just take over this company? Why would he start his own? Don't tell me you don't even know about that. I thought for sure you would know that. I didn't realize there was such a lack of communication in your family. Jim said that when he went to visit last time, he brought it up several times. He did? I never... He told me that your husband and Jim discussed this possibly years ago. Jim wanted his advice. After all, your husband built his company from scratch. Who better to get advice from, right? Huh? Really? And this was all before Jim and I got married. Neither my husband nor Jim mentioned anything. Oh, and as a side note, as for being selected as president of the company, both Jim and his father were explicit in their decision that I keep my business matters separate from my personal ones, meaning even if I became president, it would not affect our personal lives. And this decision does not mean that because Jim was not selected as president that I stole it from him. Please don't get that idea. Why wasn't I told about this? This is important. My husband nor Jim gave any clue as to what was going on. Caroline, answer me right this second. Why is my husband divorcing me? What did I do that was so wrong? Ever since you arrived, this family has gone totally haywire. You ruined our family, Caroline. And why did Jim throw away the opportunity to become the president of his own family business? And now he's a freelancer? Why? And my husband, he didn't lift a finger to stop him. As a matter of fact, he encouraged him to quit and become a freelancer. What has gotten into everyone? You put a jinx on this family, Caroline. But the worst was yet to come. They appointed you as the next president of our company? How did you manage to dupe everyone? And now my husband wants a divorce? This is like some nightmare. Well, for one thing, you came barging into the offices of our company announcing to everyone of your status as the president's wife, screaming and demanding that your son be appointed president and that after him, our non-existent son, your grandson, be in line to take over after him. That didn't go over too well, especially with your husband. He was humiliated in front of all of his employees. Well, I only did that to protect our... If that security guard hadn't stopped you, you were going to come barging into my office and make a scene. Weren't you? But your actions were futile. A complete waste of time. Did you really think that you would be able to change policy or any decision the company makes? You have zero authority to make such demands. But I'm the president's wife! It doesn't matter, Mother. I'm sure your husband told you many times about his frustration with the old traditions. That generation after generation you select a family member as president. It just didn't sit right with him. He wanted a more merit-based system. He believed a more equal and fair playing field would allow the company to grow beyond its wildest dreams, instead of clinging to old traditions. No, he never meant those things. He was always a family man, always followed tradition. Please, Caroline, talk to my husband and ask him to rescind this silly divorce. He doesn't need to do this. I'll change. Please convince him. I really can't do that, Mother. It's really not my concern. Why? Why can't you at least do this little favor for me? Please, Mother, work it out yourself. I have nothing whatsoever to do with your marriage. It's kind of late. I have to get some sleep. Goodbye. Please, Caroline, help me. Okay, I'll give you my blessing. How's that? I give you my blessing that you become the next president. Will you then help me in return? And about who will take over after you, well, I'll leave that up to you and James. You two can make that final decision. I won't interfere at all. What do you say, Caroline? Please? Please convince my husband to think it over. Please? Caroline, are you still there? Please don't cut me off. Please, Caroline, I need your help. Actually, my father-in-law told her that he was considering me as the next president, but she just wouldn't listen. Her mind just seemed to shut down whenever he brought up the subject. She couldn't accept the fact. The only thing that was on her mind was that her son was destined to become the next president, and that the wife would have to stay at home and have babies. Eventually, I was appointed as the next president, but that fact never entered my mother-in-law's mind in the slightest. Her son was the only person in the world that would be appointed, and that was that. There was no convincing her. She was so programmed by her self-delusions, a form of self-hypnosis if you ask me. It was probably in that state of mind that made her barge into the office and cause the embarrassing scene in front of all those employees. My father-in-law was so infuriated by the incident that he began to question why he was even married to her, which eventually led him to file for divorce. After the divorce went through, she received a comfortable settlement and returned to her grandparents' home back east. But her spendthrift ways as the president's wife never really waned, and her savings quickly diminished. Her grandparents were worried that she would next target their meager savings and pension, and quickly cut ties with her. I heard she was living all alone in some beat-up apartment downtown doing various part-time jobs to make ends meet.